Thank you, Caoirleach. I'd like to welcome Minsiter Perry to the House this evening to hear the matter on the adjournment. I would just appreciate the comment on the Minister Quinn's response on the case of a young 10-year-old boy whose parents have withdrawn him from school due to their concerns about him, the details of which I hope, Minister Perry, you've received from Minister Quinn. I sent the details all to him a few weeks ago, and I believe they're under further investigation also. The little boy has multiple significant special needs and has been diagnosed with an intellectual disability, Down syndrome, arthritis, Down's atrophy, sleep apnea and a hearing loss. He also has a cardiac condition, and unfortunately this little 10-year-old boy has been out of school since last April, as I said, due to the concerns I've already outlined. Significantly, I think also it needs to be taken into consideration that this little boy is also non-verbal, which raises huge communication issues. In my opinion, nobody knows their child better than a mother, and his mother reported that this child had become very withdrawn and unhappy at the school that he was attending, and that since they have removed him, that his general health and overall mood has greatly improved. His parents are extremely anxious that he returns to full-time education, and I have met the little boy myself, and I have met the parents, and would firmly concur with them that the little boy needs to be in education. However, they have genuine concerns for the school at which he is presently enrolled. They did not make this decision lightly. Indeed, they removed him only after a series of incidents over a 2-year period. This little boy is on a waiting list for 2 other special schools and have no guarantee when a place will become available for him. In the interim, the parents applied for the home tuition grant to ensure that he could continue his education. Unfortunately, this has recently been refused, and the child has not received formal education for the last 8 months. I understand that the purpose of the home tuition grant for a child with special needs is granted only where he is waiting to be placed in a suitable placement, and that the reason given for the refusal was that the child still had a place available to him in that school. However, the parents feel that this is not in the best interests of the child, and would argue that a placement in a suitable school is not available at the present time, so would argue their case that and for a review of this decision. So I would ask the Minister to urgently address the situation so that this young boy can return to receiving formal education as a matter of priority. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Moran, for raising this very important issue. I'd equally and give my opportunity to outline to the House the current position regarding the case on behalf of my colleague Minister Quinn, who regretfully cannot be here this evening. The child in question is currently enrolled in a special school. I understand that this school has a staffing of a administrative principal, 14 class teachers and 27 special needs assistants to cater for the 99 pupils enrolled. This is an overall staffing to pupil ratio of one staff member per 2.4 pupils in the school. The National School for Special Education in CSE has advised the Department of Education and Skills that they consider this level of staffing is sufficient to meet the special educational and care needs of all of the pupils enrolled in the school, which includes the child in question. In October 2012, an application for home tuition for the child in question was submitted to the Department of Education and Skills under Section 2B of the scheme, i.e. children with special educational needs who are awaiting an educational placement. Eligibility for tuition in this regard is determined in consultation with the National Council for Special Education, that's in CSE, through the local special educational needs organiser, which is the SCNO. The SCNO in question verified that a placement remained available in the special school in which he is currently enrolled. Consequently, the application was refused as funding for home provision arises only where there is a place not available. The Department operates another home tuition scheme where the child does not have a school place, is without the offer of a school place, and whose behalf a school place is being actively sought, or on whose behalf a Section 29 appeal is being taken. The home tuition scheme is an interim measure pending the offer of a school placement. I understand that an application for home tuition was again refused because of a school placement was available. The National Education Welfare Board subsequently appealed the Department decision in relation to home tuition on behalf of the child's parents. The appeal was rejected on the same grounds that this child remained on the roll of the school in question and a placement is available for him there, and in consequence the home tuition scheme cannot apply to him. In relation to the role of the NCSE in these matters, the position is that there is no formal requirement for continued NCSE involvement once a placement is available for a child. In this case, however, the SENO was advised that the boy's parents might seek assistance in relation to an alternative placing, and the Department of Education and Skills is happy that the SENO would provide support in relation to any options that they are considering. The NEWB has a particular role in relation to securing a return to school of a child that has been withdrawn, regardless of whether or not a special education need exists. I understand that the NEWB has been assisting the parents with regard to attempting to secure an alternative school placement for this child. You have referred to the parental concerns in this, which I fully respect. This is a very sensitive case. I should clarify that under the provision of the Education Act 1998, the Board of Management is the body charged with the direct governance of a school, and it is the Board of Management which employs the staff at the school currently, whereas the Department of Education and Skills provides funding and policy direction for the school. The Department does not have any power to instruct schools to follow a particular course of direction with regard to individual complaint cases. If a parent guardian is still unsatisfied after having brought a complaint to the attention of the school board of management, the parent guardian may write to the Office of the Ombudsman for Children, and the Office of the Ombudsman for Children may independently investigate complaints relating to the administrative actions or non-actions of a school recognised by the Department of Education and Skills, provided the parent has firstly and fully followed the school's complaints procedures. The key criteria for any intervention by the Ombudsman for Children is that the actions of a school has or may have adversely affected the child.
Mr. Minister. Brief question, Senator.
I do, yes, thank you. I also have a comment. Once again, Minsiter Perry, I think you always seem to get the adjournment debates where I tend to say that I'm not happy with the response. I must say I'm bitterly disappointed. I think if, in the case, as I said before, in other adjournment debates where a child with an intellectual disability or special needs is cased, I do think we have to look at each case individually. If the child was attending a normal school or a school, not a special school, and didn't prefer to send a child to a different school in the area, the parent can just take the child and send them to a different school. Unfortunately, if the child is attending a special school and there is no other special school available, they're caught in this terrible loop. The parents are clearly unhappy with where the child is placed at the moment and wish and feel, as I said there, that they've noticed a huge improvement since the child came out. And surely it is a parental choice of where they send their child to school. So, I think this child has been out of school since last April. That's 8 months, and I just think that priority needs to be given to that. We owe that child the right to an education.
Well, just not repeat what the Minister stated, but I think it's a very comprehensive reply, in fairness to Minister Quinn, because there is meaningful negotiations going on. The NEWB has been assisting the parents with regard to attempting to secure an alternative school placement for the child. And obviously,
guarantee the report that they have no guarantee even of a place next September.
No, but there's really meaningful negotiations going on. And when you consider, that's what the role there of finally that they have 14 class teachers and 27 special needs teachers assistants to cater for 99 pupils enrolled. That's currently what's there at the moment. Obviously, they're unhappy with that situation in that school, but I think there's really meaningful negotiations going on. Minister Quinn is doing everything he can. As I said, the autonomy of the school is completely separate. The department have policy. They cannot give an exacting direction as to what can take place, but I'm quite certain that the outturn of this will be satisfactory. I'm quite certain Minister Quinn is very determined, within the powers he has, without getting directly involved, which he cannot, and that's very, and you wouldn't expect that he would. So I think that, in fairness, I think Minister Quinn is doing everything he can, so that there's no criticism of him in any sense in this, regardless that it's very meaningful negotiations to take place with the parents and with the NEWB, see how best they can rectify this situation. But I'm quite certain as a calm, cool debate, this will be resolved.
Hopefully so.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Minister.